Well, water and sanitation services are expected to get a boost from a new initiative to deploy a national task team comprising the Departments of Water and Sanitation and Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, as well as the South African Local Government Association. This was decided at a recent water summit hosted in partnership with the DWS and 144 municipalities who are also water services authorities. Department of Water and Sanitation Director General Dr. Sean Phillips joins us now to explain how it will work and, more importantly, when communities will begin to see a real turnaround in the provision and quality of water and sanitation services. Good evening to you, Dr. Phillips. Welcome to the program. Thank you in advance for your time. So we've seen, as we all have, a decline in excellence in water quality and infrastructure. So this is quite an ambitious collaborative effort meant to correct and improve. How complex is the task ahead?
Good afternoon, Imam, and good afternoon to all your viewers. This is about trying to find more fundamental reforms to implement at municipal level with regard to water and sanitation services. Over the years, the national government has been implementing its constitutional responsibility in terms of providing support to municipalities, but there's been a decline in water services despite that support. So there's been a realization now that we need to consider more fundamental reforms, which are actually already provided for in the Water Services Act, which allows for municipalities to play two roles with regard to water services. One is the Water Services Authority role, and in that role, the municipality must ensure that water services are delivered according to standards. And the other role in the Act is the Water Service Provider role. So those municipalities which are currently providing water services internally using in-house services are both Water Services Authority and Water Service Provider. But the Act allows water services authorities to approve a range of different organizations to be water service providers, including water boards, including other municipalities or municipal entities, and also the private sector.
Yeah.
So then the Municipal Systems Act says that if a municipality wants to change its means of service provision, it has to go through a local consultation process. So what we're going to be doing together with SALGA and COGTA is facilitating those local consultation processes to determine the best, more effective way of delivering water services in those municipalities. There's 105 of them, water services authorities, which scored poorly or critically bad in terms of the recent Bloom Green Drop report.
Well, let's get straight to the heart of it, because if we see, issues, for example, in Tshwane, where there might have been, and again, you have the infrastructure there, you've got the legal infrastructure, so the architecture of support is already there. It's the decisions that are made on the ground that seem to be where the weaknesses are in commissioning certain either rehabilitation projects, or money is not being spent correctly on the delivery of those projects, or being delivered substandard, where you see what we saw with the Royal water works systems, for example, or the water problems in that particular ecosystem in Tshwane. What you're suggesting, and if I understood you correctly, is you almost be there assisting them at that point as well, to make sure that when these allocations or the procurement is made, that they are done correctly to the right people with the probability of these projects turning around as envisaged.
Yes, Imam, we have two processes running concurrently. One is ongoing support to municipalities to improve services within the existing institutional arrangements. So, for example, we are currently supporting the Tshwane municipality to address the issues in Hammanskraal in the Rooiwal wastewater treatment works, together with National Treasury and the Development Bank. But in addition to that, this process that you mentioned earlier in the interview of having facilitated consultation processes with the worst performing municipalities regarding alternative means of service delivery is a more fundamental reform. It's about saying, if it's not working when a municipality is delivering the services internally, then what alternatives could be looked at, such as, for example, getting a water board to provide the function for the municipality.
So, and to end, because it's amazing how time evaporates on our show, ultimately our viewers would want to know, especially in those areas where the water quality has been compromised, and that Blue Drop report was quite harsh towards the end of last year, is when will they have water, clean, drinkable, good quality water that comes out of our taps, particularly in those municipalities where they haven't been. And we also have to be cognizant of the competition with the water tankers. What we hear is they want to be able to continue to hold on to that gig. So it's not in their favor that there's pure, clean, great drinking water that comes directly out of the taps. What do you say to our viewers about when and how do you manage that competition?
Well, it depends on each municipality, Iman. So in terms of the constitution, distribution of water and sanitation services are a municipal function. And that's why you have this huge variation across the country, because we've got 144 different water services authorities, and they're performing at different levels. What we did agree when we met with all of those water services authorities is that all of them must send us improvement plans by the end of this month for how they're going to address the challenges that were found in our blue, green and no drop assessments. So, and then we are supporting many municipalities such as Tshwane and working together with other municipalities where there's challenges such as eThekwini. That in time is going to result in improvements. And then this more fundamental reform process that I've talked about will take a bit longer. But as I indicated, the municipalities themselves and with our support have to improve things in the meantime while we look at more fundamental reforms.
All right, well, hopefully that's going to be happening very, very soon. Our viewers are also watching, and so they have to share with us as well whether some of these changes are being brought to bear where they live. Thank you for your time, Dr. Phillips. We appreciate it. Department of Water and Sanitation Director General there, Dr. Sean Phillips.